Welcome back to the Worch Show. I recently started using Google Calendar. My life just got extremely hectic, extremely busy between opening up a second coffee shop, operating a real estate company, being a father, being a husband, wanting to keep working out, wanting to keep reading books, wanting to keep growing my entrepreneurial life. Everything just got so crazy. And I realized I need to get a little more organized. I need to manage my time better and be much more efficient. So I started using Google Calendar, and I wanted to share a little bit about how that has just absolutely transformed the way I do everything. I mean, it's been phenomenal. It's been great. So I want to share some of that with you. One of the things there's a lot of benefits that I've been using with Google Calendars. One, I get to see where I'm using my time. So the first month, it's going to be a little weird, even the first week, using this calendar, getting used to filling everything in, everything that you do day by day, you're just going to log it in. So I started logging everything I got up in the morning, went to the gym, logged that in, the time that I did it, lunchtime, time with the family, working time, everything gets logged into the calendar. Now, ideally, you do it the day before, but when you're first getting started, it's going to be super overwhelming. So I got started the first week, and the first week or two was really a big assessment for me to see where I'm even putting most of my time, because you think you're being really efficient, or you feel like you're going through your week and you just don't have a lot of time to do the things that you want to do. Well, you'd be surprised how much extra time you're going to be able to dig up and find. Once you see where your time is going, then you can manage things a lot better. I actually saw, I felt super busy in light of everything going on, but I actually saw how much free time I actually had. I actually had 1 to 2 hours every single day of free time, but because I wasn't structuring meetings or appointments correctly, compressing things together, organizing them, there was just a bunch of gaps in my workday that could be completely eliminated, mostly by managing my driving. I was driving a lot to meetings, and I started to organize my day in a way that I wasn't leaving the house or leaving the office multiple times and having to go back and wasting time commuting to and from different meetings. It also, having this Google Calendar allowed me to be so much more intentional with my time, because now when you see where all your time is going, then you realize how much waste there is throughout your day. I realized there was a lot of times when perhaps I was sitting down doing nothing, scrolling through social media for 20 minutes. Even though I've gotten better at that, it's still something that was prominent, still something that I was doing. So being able to see where I was putting my time allowed me to be much more intentional when I plan on my day. So ultimately, my day looked so much cleaner, so much better, would get more done. And I'm not talking that I put everything there. I plan everything. So I plan if I'm going to have family time, if I'm going to have gym time, relax time, if I'm going to take a nap for 20 minutes during the day because I'm exhausted, I put everything in the calendar. Ultimately, you're going to get more work done. And as a result, you're actually going to end up having more free time because you're much more intentional with your time. So another thing too, I don't absolutely do not have, what am I doing? Yeah, another thing is I was really big on to-do lists. I was super, super huge on to-do lists, but I was finding that the problem with the to-do list is that the to-do list, you may have the same problem, just grows and grows and grows, and you're never getting things done. Or perhaps you add 10 things one day and you knock out one thing per week, and then all of a sudden you just have this overwhelming list of things to do, and you don't even know where to begin, and you just seem hopeless. And that's just the way I felt. And I was never getting anything done. So I don't use to-do lists anymore. Now, if I'm going to do something, I put everything in my Google Calendar, including the things that I want to get done for the day. So when I add something into my calendar that would previously have been put on my to-do list, I'm actually able to project how long I think it should take and what time I'm going to start that task. and what time I think I should be done with that task by. So I can be much more intentional about the amount of time. And then also too, how much time I even want to allocate to that. If I'm going to the gym, previously I wouldn't keep track of how many hours I was in the gym. But, if I only allocate 35 minutes, I know when I go to the gym, I'm not messing around on my phone. I'm not talking to anyone. I'll say hi to a few people, but I'm getting straight to my workout because I have 35 minutes. If I need 45 minutes, but the idea is to just be much more intentional with the time. So when I first started using Google Calendar, the first few days, I realized I had a lot of black space on the calendar, which means there was nothing scheduled for those times. And which means I was being much more or less intentional. Perhaps I was a lot of driving or 20 minutes of wasted time in between meetings. But I noticed I had a lot of black space. And then as I got better with using Google Calendar, the black space would go away. I was getting more efficient and I was filming all my tasks that I want to do and I was plugging it into the Google Calendar. So, but the cool thing was most recently now, because I'm getting even more efficient and I'm getting rid of a lot of waste and a lot of things that I didn't necessarily need to be doing, but just busy work. So now my Google Calendar went from a bunch of black space because I wasn't being super efficient to being completely filled up with a bunch of different tasks to now it's still completely filled up with all different colors and shades. But now I went from a bunch of little boxes scheduled out every 15 minutes, every 30 minutes, every hour and a half to having just wide gaps of boxes for like 3 hours of just intense, deep work, and intense focus on something, and then take a 15-minute break and schedule that, and then much more intense. So in one day, I could really have I went from having maybe 30, 40, 50 boxes filled out with times and tasks scheduled to now I might have less than 10 boxes filled out because I'm so much more intentional with my time. So really what I ended up doing was I got rid of all this meaningless work and all these meaningless appointments that I was just using to fill up my day. And I didn't want to have all these meaningless appointments. I wanted to make sure every single thing that I'm working on is moving me directly towards the direction I want to go to, whatever my vision is, towards the habits and towards all the goals that I'm working on. I want to make sure every task that I'm doing is for that. So when I schedule on family time, it's because I want to be the best husband I could possibly be, the best father I could possibly be. So I'm very intentional about scheduling that. And for real estate, I want to finish particular projects. I'll schedule the exact amount of time I need to do that, focus on that for the coffee shop and so forth and so on. The gym, super, super intentional with everything that I do now. And in being more intentional, this actually forced me to kind of reassess a lot of habits or things that I was doing throughout the day that I needed to get rid of. It was much easier though. I'm a visual person. It was much easier to see a visual chart and a calendar of things that I'm doing and they're not directly related to helping me move forward and to cut those things out, including relationships and friendships. There's a lot of people I stopped talking to as much because I realized that 10-minute phone call throughout the day easily turned into a 30-minute phone call. And it was just kind of catching up. And so if I want to hang out with friends, I could schedule that after working hours at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, or I could do a lunch during the day. It just has to be intentional. No more BS phone calls throughout the day just for why someone else is taking a break and they don't feel like getting work done, but they're interrupting my work day. So I completely got rid of that. In fact, I don't even leave my phone near myself when I'm working anymore because I just kept on getting too many wasteful text messages, too many wasteful phone calls. One of the things that was fun for me is I actually started to get super competitive with myself as far as how productive I can get throughout the day. What I do is I'll just challenge myself and look at the previous day. And while I'm scheduling the following day, usually the night before, I'll see if I can get much more productive, get more things done, more tasks done. And I just want to fill in that whole day with colors, all productive things, all intentional, and make sure everything's moving forward to exactly what I want to accomplish. One of the most helpful things for me while I was using Google Calendar is that it helped me to schedule my day the night before. And I've heard this, a lot of people say this all the time is, when should you plan your day? the night before. So you should already know before you go to bed exactly what you're going to do throughout the whole day. Now, you're going to have to make revisions throughout your calendar because things never inevitably go out according to plan. But it helps to have a skeleton or a baseline to know exactly what you want to accomplish that day. And then throughout the day, you can revise times. If you get things done earlier, then you can move the calendar and move things earlier or fill it in with something extra that you wanted to get done. Perhaps you were going to get done the day before or the day after. You can move that over to the current date, and you can work on getting that done as well. And finally, the last thing I have to say about improving time efficiency, one of the biggest hacks for me was just the 1 hour a day hack. And if you sit down on it to come down to brass taxes and think about it, 1 hour a day, that's 365 hours per year. That's a little over 9 weeks based on a 40-hour work week. That's over 2 months. Okay? 1 hour a day. Focus on doing something for yourself that's going to move you forward in the direction that you want to head. Whether it's starting that new business, whether you're an artist and it's doing what you love, creating a new song, painting something, drawing something, starting that book, filming a podcast, dedicate minimum 1 hour a day. And that's over 2 months extrapolated over the course of the year. 2 months working on something. Now think about this. Imagine taking 2 months off every single year to focus on that business idea that you wanted to do, to focus on your dreams, to focus on yourself, and how much you will get accomplished over the course of 2, 3, 4 years. And that's just 1 hour a day. 2 hours a day, that's 4.5 or 5 months a year, focusing deeply on that one thing that you want to accomplish. So my encouragement to you is to dedicate 1 hour a day and make it count. Thanks for watching the Mark Worch Show. This is episode -10. I'll see you guys next time.